A racist millionaire mocks a elderly black doorman while entering building, not knowing he's the owner of the building. Sam Thompson stood at his post in front of Harrington Tower, the upscale apartment building that had been his workplace for over 30 years. The morning sun filtered through the trees lining the street, casting dappled shadows on the polished marble floor of the entrance. Sam adjusted his cap, the familiar fabric slightly worn but still crisp, a small token of the respect he had earned from the residents over the years. Every day, Sam greeted the residents with a smile and a nod, his weathered face a testament to the wisdom and experience he carried. "Good morning, Mrs. Jackson. How's your granddaughter doing?" he called out to an elderly resident wrapped in a bright pink scarf. "Oh, Sam, she just got accepted into that art program," Mrs. Jackson replied, her eyes sparkling with joy. Sam felt a swell of pride as he engaged with the residents, each interaction a reminder of the community he had fostered. He cherished these moments, knowing that his presence made a difference in their lives. His job as the doorman was more than just a position. It was a badge of honor, a testament to the hard work and dedication he had shown throughout his life. As the morning progressed, residents continued to filter in, each greeted by Sam's warm smile. He took pride in knowing their names, their stories, and their families. This was his world, a world that felt safe and familiar. But that tranquility shattered the moment Victor Harrington approached, his imposing figure framed against the gleaming glass doors. Dressed in a tailored suit that screamed wealth, Victor was a self-made millionaire, known for his brashness and outdated views. As he strode toward the entrance, Sam could feel the tension in the air thicken. "Look at you, old man," Victor sneered as he stepped inside, his voice dripping with disdain. "Still hanging around this dump? Shouldn't you be at home counting your days? Or better yet, retired somewhere sunny?" Sam felt a familiar sting of humiliation, but years of experience taught him to remain composed. He had chosen this job not just for the paycheck, but to honor his father's legacy of hard work and humility. Sam could feel the heat rising in his cheeks, but he held his tongue, reminding himself that some battles were best fought silently. "Nice suit, Victor. Did you rob a bank?" Sam replied coolly, a hint of defiance in his voice. Victor's smirk faltered for a brief moment before he regained his composure. "At least I can afford one," he shot back, his eyes narrowing. "You should be grateful I even allow you to work here." The words stung and Sam's heart raced. He had faced countless insults in his years as a doorman, but something about Victor's arrogance grated on him today. Perhaps it was the way Victor dismissed him, as if he were nothing more than an obstacle in his path. Sam felt the weight of his ancestors' struggles pressing down on him, urging him to stand tall. As Victor continued to belittle him, Sam's mind raced with memories of his father's teachings about dignity and respect. He remembered how his father had always emphasized the importance of holding one's head high, even when faced with the most disrespectful of individuals. Sam took a deep breath, letting the memories wash over him, reminding him of the strength he carried within. "Just remember, old man," Victor continued, leaning closer, a condescending smirk plastered across his face. "You're lucky I don't have you replaced with someone more presentable." Sam's patience began to wear thin, and the anger simmering beneath the surface threatened to boil over. He glanced around the lobby, taking in the faces of the residents, some of whom had once praised him for his dedication. Would they stand by him if he chose to speak up? Or would they retreat into their own worlds, leaving him to fight this battle alone? Just then, Mrs. Jackson, the elderly resident with the bright pink scarf, stepped forward. "Victor, I think you should be more respectful," she said, her voice shaking but firm. "Sam has worked here longer than you've owned your fancy car, and he deserves our respect." Sam felt a rush of gratitude for Mrs. Jackson's support. Her words were a lifeline, and he could see that they resonated with others. A few heads nodded in agreement, and the murmur of support began to spread through the lobby. Victor's smirk faltered for a moment, but he quickly regained his composure. "Oh, please," Victor scoffed, waving his hand dismissively. "What do you know about respect? You're just a bunch of entitled tenants living off my hard work. Without people like me, you'd be lost." Sam's jaw clenched at the arrogance he was witnessing. He could feel the anger bubbling beneath the surface, but he remained still, determined not to let Victor's words rattle him. He wanted to respond, to defend not just himself but the dignity of his fellow residents. But he knew that patience was his ally. As Victor strode past him, Sam felt a flicker of defiance ignite within him. He was not just a doorman. He was a guardian of the legacy of those who had come before him. And maybe, just maybe, today would be the day he reclaimed his story. The seconds ticked by, and Sam felt the tension in the air swell. He could sense the discomfort of the residents around him, their eyes darting between him and Victor, unsure of how to react. The silence felt heavy, pressing down on him like the humid air of a summer day. In that moment, Sam recalled stories from his past, tales of his father standing tall in the face of adversity. He remembered how his father had always emphasized the importance of dignity, even when faced with the most disrespectful of individuals. Sam took a deep breath, letting the memories wash over him, reminding him of the strength he carried within. The residents began to murmur among themselves, their discomfort growing. A younger couple, who had just moved in, whispered to each other, clearly appalled by Victor's behavior. Sam felt a mix of hope and anxiety. Perhaps this would be the moment when they collectively stood up against Victor's tyranny. "Listen, you old fool," Victor spat, determination igniting in his eyes. "You think you're running this place? You're nothing but a relic. I don't need to justify anything to you or anyone else here." Sam's patience was at its breaking point. He felt the weight of the moment pressing down on him. "Victor," he began, his voice steady, "you may think your money gives you power over people like me, but you're mistaken. I have stood here for decades, witnessing the lives of the residents in this building, the struggles, the triumphs, the families that have grown up here. This building is a sanctuary, not just for you, but for all of us." The lobby fell silent, and all eyes turned to Sam. He felt a rush of adrenaline, empowered by the solidarity surrounding him. "I am not just a doorman. I am the guardian of this community's history. My family built this place, and we fought for it through every challenge. You do not define my worth." The shock on Victor's face was unmistakable, and for the first time, Sam saw a flicker of uncertainty in the millionaire's eyes. The residents began to murmur in agreement, their voices rising in support of Sam. "I think it's time you learn to treat people with respect," Sam continued, his voice strong and steady. "You're not above anyone here, and the way you treat others speaks volumes about your character." Victor opened his mouth to respond, but Sam's words hung in the air, heavy with truth. The momentum had shifted, and the residents rallied behind Sam, their support transforming the atmosphere from one of tension to unity. Sam felt a wave of relief wash over him, knowing that he had finally stood up for himself and for the community he had cherished for so long. In that moment, he realized that while Victor may have come in with arrogance, he was leaving with nothing but the weight of his own prejudices on his shoulders. The tension in the lobby hung thick, almost palpable, as Sam stood his ground, feeling a rush of empowerment surge through him. For the first time in years, he felt like he was not just a doorman, but a representative of every person who had been dismissed or belittled. The residents' murmurs of support filled him with a sense of purpose, and he knew he had struck a chord. "Sam, I've always respected you," said Clara, the building's resident association president, stepping forward. "You've dedicated your life to this community. It's time someone put Victor in his place." Victor's face contorted with anger, his earlier bravado faltering. "This is ridiculous," he spat. "I won't stand here and be lectured by a glorified doorman." Ignoring Victor's outbursts, Sam turned to the residents. "What we're witnessing today isn't just about me. It's about the way we treat one another. It's about respect. Each of us deserves to be acknowledged for who we are, not dismissed based on our jobs or appearance." "Exactly," Clara chimed in, her voice gaining strength. "We're all part of this community, and it's shameful that someone like Victor thinks he can impose his arrogance on us." The crowd began to nod, their resolve solidifying. Sam felt a wave of gratitude wash over him. They were standing together against the tide of disrespect, and it was powerful. Victor, realizing he was losing control of the situation, tried to recover. "You think this is a community? It's a business. I own a significant portion of this property. I have the right to—" "Own?" Sam interrupted, his voice ringing out with conviction. "You may own property, Victor, but you do not own the people in it. The value of this building isn't just in its bricks and mortar. It's in the lives that fill it. My family built this place to provide a home for those in need, not a pedestal for the likes of you." Victor's face turned a shade of crimson, and for a moment he looked as if he might explode. But Sam held his gaze, unwavering, feeling the collective strength of the residents behind him. "Enough!" Victor roared, frustration spilling out. You'll regret this, old man. I'll have you replaced. And if I have to pull my investments out of this building to make a point, so be it. Sam felt a chill run through him at the threat. He had worked hard to maintain his position and the respect of the residents, and he knew that losing this job would be devastating. But even more than that, it would mean that Victor could continue to spread his toxic attitudes unchecked. Is that a threat, Victor? Sam asked, his voice calm but firm. Because, if it is, you should know that you're not just threatening my livelihood. You're threatening the very fabric of this community, and I won't stand by and let that happen. The residents stood in solidarity, their eyes fixed on Victor, who now appeared cornered. The air was thick with tension, each heartbeat echoing in Sam's ears. He felt the weight of history pressing down on him, the struggles of his ancestors, the sacrifices they made, and the legacy they left behind. Victor clenched his jaw, and for a moment Sam thought he might lash out physically. Instead, he turned on his heel, storming out of the lobby, anger radiating from him like heat waves. The door slammed behind him, leaving a stunned silence in his wake. As the door rattled, Sam turned to the residents, who were still processing what had just happened. Clara stepped forward again, her presence commanding. Sam, that was incredible. I've seen you handle difficult situations before, but this was different. You stood up for all of us. Thank you, Clara, Sam replied, feeling a mix of relief and pride. I just couldn't let him belittle me or anyone else here. We all deserve respect, and I'm glad you all stood with me. The residents began to applaud, the sound echoing in the lobby. Sam felt a swell of emotion as he looked around at their faces. Some were young couples, others were families, and many were older individuals who had lived in the building for years. They were all part of the same community, and he had defended their dignity alongside his own. Let's make sure to document this, Clara continued, her voice rising above the applause. We need to take a stand against this kind of behavior. It can't go unchallenged. Sam nodded, appreciating Clara's leadership. We should hold a meeting. We need to discuss how we can address this issue and ensure it doesn't happen again. We can't let Victor think he can walk all over us. The residents murmured in agreement, their energy shifting from shock to action. Sam felt a sense of determination ignite within him. This was not just about one confrontation. It was about creating a culture of respect within their community. As the applause subsided, Sam turned to face the residents, his heart racing. Thank you all for your support. Together we can make a difference. We need to show Victor and anyone else who thinks they can bully us that we are united, and we will not be silenced. Absolutely, a young man named Marcus shouted from the back of the crowd. It's time we take our community back. The atmosphere in the lobby transformed, the earlier tension replaced by a sense of purpose. Sam felt a rush of pride, knowing that they were ready to confront the challenges ahead together. As the residents began to disperse, Sam took a moment to reflect on the weight of what had just occurred. He hadn't just defended himself, he had sparked something within the community. He could feel the tide turning, and he was determined to see it through. Once the lobby cleared, Sam returned to his post, still buzzing from the adrenaline of the confrontation. He glanced outside, watching as Victor's car sped away. There was a sense of finality in that moment, but Sam knew that this was only the beginning. The next few days were tense. Sam remained vigilant, aware that Victor might retaliate in some way. He could feel the eyes of the residents on him as they entered and exited the building, their support evident, but also a reminder of the weight he now carried. Then one afternoon, as he leaned against the entrance, a familiar figure approached, a young woman named Emily, who had just moved into the building a few months ago. She had bright eyes and an easy smile, and Sam had enjoyed their brief conversations. Hey, Sam, Emily said, her voice warm. I just wanted to check in. I heard about what happened with Victor. Are you doing okay? Sam smiled, grateful for her concern. I appreciate that, Emily. It's been a whirlwind, but I'm hanging in there. I think you did an amazing job standing up to him, she said, her expression serious. People like him need to be challenged. It's not just about you, it's about all of us. Exactly, Sam replied, feeling a renewed sense of purpose. We're all in this together. This building is more than just a place to live. It's a community, and we need to protect that. Emily nodded, her eyes sparkling with determination. I'd love to help out. If you're organizing a meeting or anything to discuss what happened, let me know. I want to be involved. Sam felt a surge of gratitude. Thank you, Emily. We're planning to hold a residents' meeting soon to discuss how we can address this behavior and ensure it doesn't happen again. I'll spread the word, Emily said enthusiastically. We need to make sure everyone knows that we're standing together. As they spoke, Sam felt a sense of hope. The community was rallying, and he could see the change beginning to take shape. It was a reminder that while challenges lay ahead, they were not alone in this fight. As the sun began to set, casting a warm glow through the lobby, Sam realized that this was not just about him reclaiming his dignity. It was about creating a space where everyone felt valued. He was ready to lead the charge, to ensure that Harrington Tower remained a sanctuary for all its residents. The confrontation with Victor may have begun as a moment of anger and humiliation, but it had ignited a fire within him, a fire that would not be easily extinguished. The following days at Harrington Tower were charged with a newfound energy, a collective resolve that pulsed through the building's community. Sam Thompson took his role as the doorman with renewed vigor, greeting residents with warmth and purpose. The incident with Victor Harrington had sparked conversations among the tenants, and Sam could feel the momentum building. As the sun rose on the day of the residents' meeting, Sam prepared himself mentally for the gathering. He had spent the night crafting a plan, jotting down points he wanted to address. This was not just about standing up to Victor. It was about fostering a culture of respect and solidarity among all the residents. With the lobby adorned with flyers announcing the meeting, Sam felt a mixture of excitement and apprehension. He glanced at the clock and noted that it was nearly time. The turnout was crucial. He needed to ensure that everyone understood the importance of unity in the face of adversity. As the first few residents trickled in, Sam greeted them warmly. Clara was the first to arrive, her demeanor confident as she carried a clipboard. "I'm ready to take notes," she said with a smile. "Let's make this meeting impactful." "Thanks, Clara," Sam replied, feeling reassured by her presence. "We need to ensure that everyone feels heard and valued today." More residents began to filter into the lobby, and Sam watched as familiar faces filled the chairs. There was Emily, the young woman who had expressed her desire to help. She waved enthusiastically as she took a seat in the front row, her energy contagious. "Hey, everyone!" Emily called out, her voice bright. "I'm so glad to see so many of you here." The chatter in the room grew as residents exchanged pleasantries and took their seats. Sam felt a swell of pride at the sight of his community coming together. They were ready to address the elephant in the room and reclaim their space. Once everyone was settled, Sam stepped forward, taking a deep breath to steady himself. "Thank you all for coming today," he began, his voice steady. "I know that this past week has been challenging, especially with the incident involving Victor Harrington, but I believe we have an opportunity to create real change in our community." The room fell silent, all eyes on Sam. What we witnessed was more than just a confrontation. It was a reminder of how important it is to stand together and support one another. We cannot let anyone, regardless of their wealth, belittle us or diminish our worth. Clara nodded in agreement, her pen poised above her clipboard. "Absolutely, Sam. It's important that we not only stand up for ourselves, but also foster an environment where everyone feels safe and respected. We need to make it clear that this kind of behavior will not be tolerated." "Right," Sam continued, feeling encouraged by the support. "I want to hear from all of you. This is a space for everyone to share their thoughts and experiences. Let's start a dialogue about how we can work together to ensure that our community remains a place of dignity and respect." The atmosphere in the room shifted as residents began to open up. One by one, they shared their experiences of feeling marginalized or overlooked, each story weaving a tapestry of shared struggles. "I remember when I first moved in," said Marcus, the young man who had voiced his support after the confrontation. "I was excited to be part of such a nice building, but I felt out of place. I was often ignored by some of the long-term residents. It made me question whether I belonged here." Sam listened intently, nodding. "Thank you for sharing that, Marcus. It's important to recognize that everyone deserves to feel like they belong, regardless of how long they've lived here." Another resident, a middle-aged woman named Lila, chimed in. "I've seen how Victor talks down to people. Not just Sam. It's not just disrespectful. It's harmful. We need to hold him accountable." "Yes, exactly," Clara added, her enthusiasm infectious. "We need to draft a letter to the management about this behavior and demand that they take a stand against it. We can't let Victor think he can intimidate us." The conversation flowed, residents expressing their frustrations and hopes for the future. As Sam listened, he felt the weight of their stories, each one echoing the importance of standing up against a culture of disrespect. It was more than just a personal battle. It was a fight for dignity within their community. "I think we should organize a community event," Emily suggested, her eyes bright with excitement. "Something that brings everyone together. A barbecue, maybe? It would be a great way to build relationships and foster a sense of belonging." "That's a brilliant idea," Sam exclaimed, feeling a wave of enthusiasm wash over him. "A community event could help us strengthen our ties and show that we're united. It's not just about standing up to Victor. It's about creating a positive environment for everyone." As the ideas flowed, Sam felt the energy in the room shift. They were no longer just tenants. They were a community, rallying together to reclaim their space. The air buzzed with excitement, and as they discussed plans for the event, brainstorming activities and themes that would engage everyone. But amidst the enthusiasm, Sam couldn't shake the feeling of unease that lingered in his stomach. Victor was not one to back down easily, and he knew he would retaliate. The thought of confrontation loomed like a storm cloud overhead, threatening to overshadow their newfound unity. As the meeting drew to a close, Sam felt a sense of accomplishment. They had taken the first steps toward change, but he knew the real work lay ahead. "Let's keep this momentum going," he urged. "We need to stay united and support one another. I'll coordinate with Clara and Emily to finalize the details for the event, and I encourage all of you to spread the word." The residents clapped, their excitement palpable. Sam felt a flicker of hope ignite within him, a hope that they could create a culture of respect and dignity, not just for themselves, but for future generations. After the meeting, Sam lingered in the lobby, chatting with residents as they filtered out. Emily approached him, her expression serious. "I just wanted to say that you really inspired me today, Sam. Your courage to stand up to Victor made me realize how important it is to fight for what's right." "Thank you, Emily," Sam replied, touched by her words. "It's not easy, but it's necessary. We all have a role to play in making sure our community is a safe and respectful space." As they spoke, Sam noticed a familiar figure approaching. The tall silhouette of Victor Harrington, his expression unreadable. The sight made Sam's heart race, a mix of anxiety and determination flooding through him. "Looks like we're going to have to put our plans into action sooner than expected," Sam said, trying to maintain his composure as Victor stepped into the lobby. "Good evening, Sam," Victor said, his tone dripping with sarcasm. "I see you've gathered quite the crowd. Planning a little party, are we?" Sam straightened, meeting Victor's gaze with unwavering confidence. "We're just discussing how to create a better community for everyone, Victor. Something you might want to consider." Victor's eyes narrowed, his irritation palpable. "You're playing a dangerous game, old man. You think you can rally these people against me? You're out of your league. Maybe it's time you learned that treating people with respect isn't just a game." Sam replied, his voice steady. "You don't have the power to dictate how we feel or how we live." Victor stepped closer, his expression darkening. "You think you can stand up to me? I'll show you just how much power I have. You're nothing without this job, and I can make your life a living hell." Sam felt the weight of Victor's threat, but he refused to back down. "You can try, but I won't be intimidated. This community stands together, and we won't let you walk all over us." Victor let out a harsh laugh, the sound echoing through the lobby. "We'll see about that. Enjoy your little gathering while it lasts. You'll soon find out that I always get what I want." With that, Victor turned on his heel and stormed out of the building, leaving a tense silence in his wake. Sam's heart raced, and he could sense the unease among the residents who had witnessed the exchange. "Sam, that was intense," Emily said, her voice barely above a whisper. "Are you okay?" "I will be," Sam replied, trying to steady his breathing. "We just need to stick together. Victor may think he can intimidate us, but he doesn't understand the strength of a united community." As the last of the residents trickled out, Sam felt a sense of resolve wash over him. They had taken a stand today, and he was determined to see it through. The fight for respect and dignity was far from over, but he knew they had each other's backs. With the community event on the horizon, Sam felt a renewed sense of purpose. Together, they would create a culture of respect, and together they would face whatever challenges lay ahead. The following days buzzed with anticipation as Sam Thompson and the residents of Harrington Tower prepared for the community event. They had decided to host a barbecue in the rooftop garden, a place that offered a breathtaking view of the city skyline. The gathering was designed not only to foster camaraderie, but also to reaffirm their collective strength against Victor Harrington's arrogance. As the day of the event approached, Sam found himself taking on a leadership role within the community. He coordinated the logistics, enlisted volunteers, and worked tirelessly to ensure everything was in place. The residents rallied around him, eager to contribute. Clara took charge of organizing the food, while Emily recruited a few musicians from the building to provide entertainment. On the day of the barbecue, Sam arrived early to set up. The sun shone brightly, casting a warm glow over the rooftop. He laid out tables adorned with colorful tablecloths and set up a grill that had been donated by one of the residents. The aroma of charcoal wafted through the air, igniting memories of summer gatherings from his youth. As residents began to arrive, Sam greeted each one with a smile, feeling a sense of pride swell within him. Children ran around, laughter filling the air, while adults mingled and exchanged stories. The atmosphere was one of joy and unity, a stark contrast to the tension that had plagued the building just a week before. "Sam, this is incredible," Emily exclaimed as she set up a small stage for the musicians. "I can't believe how many people showed up." "Thanks to you and everyone else who helped spread the word," Sam replied, his heart swelling with gratitude. "It's a testament to the strength of our community." As the barbecue kicked off, residents gathered around the grill, chatting and enjoying the food. Clara moved among the crowd, ensuring everyone felt included, while Emily strummed her guitar, providing the perfect soundtrack for the afternoon. Sam felt a sense of belonging, a feeling he hadn't experienced in a long time. But as the sun began to dip below the horizon, painting the sky in hues of orange and pink, Sam's excitement was tinged with anxiety. He couldn't shake the feeling that Victor would retaliate. The man was relentless, and Sam knew he wouldn't take their defiance lightly. Just as he was lost in thought, the crowd erupted in laughter, jolting him back to the present. He turned to see Marcus telling a story, his animated gestures captivating an audience of fellow residents. Sam couldn't help but smile. This was the essence of community, people coming together, sharing their lives, and supporting one another. As the evening progressed, Sam took a moment to step away from the crowd. He leaned against the railing, gazing out at the city skyline. The view was breathtaking, but his mind was elsewhere. He could feel the weight of responsibility pressing down on him. They had come so far, but Victor's shadow loomed large. "Hey, Sam," Emily said, joining him at the railing. "Penny for your thoughts?" Sam turned to her, appreciating her presence. "Just thinking about how far we've come. It feels good to see everyone united like this, but I can't shake the feeling that Victor will try to spoil it." Emily nodded, her expression serious. "I understand your concern. He's not the type to take defeat lightly, but we can't let him intimidate us. This event is a celebration of who we are as a community." "You're right," Sam said, feeling a bit of the tension ease. "We need to focus on what we've built here, not what he might do." Just then, Clara approached, holding a plate piled high with food. "You two look deep in thought. What's on your minds?" "Just talking about Victor," Sam admitted. "I'm worried he might show up and try to ruin the evening." Clara shook her head, determination in her eyes. "We can't let fear dictate our actions. This is our space and we have every right to enjoy it. If he shows up, we'll confront him together." As the words left Clara's mouth, a chill ran down Sam's spine. He turned to look down at the entrance of the rooftop garden, and his heart sank. There, standing just beyond the door, was Victor Harrington, his presence a dark cloud hovering over their moment of joy. "Looks like we're about to find out," Sam said, his voice low. Victor stepped onto the rooftop, his expression a mix of disdain and curiosity. "What a quaint little gathering you have here," he said, his voice dripping with sarcasm. "How very community-oriented." The laughter and chatter faltered, and all eyes turned to Victor. Sam felt the air grow heavy, the energy of the celebration shifting as tension filled the space. "Victor, what are you doing here?" Clara asked, her voice steady but laced with defiance. "I came to see what my tenants are up to," he replied, his gaze sweeping over the crowd. "I didn't realize you people were capable of having fun without my approval." Sam stepped forward, feeling the weight of responsibility settle on his shoulders. "This isn't about you, Victor. It's about us coming together as a community. We won't be intimidated by your arrogance." Victor's eyes narrowed, a flicker of irritation crossing his face. "You think this little barbecue changes anything? You're still just a doorman, and I can have you replaced in a heartbeat. We're not afraid of you, Sam asserted, his voice resolute. This is our home, and we stand together. The residents began to murmur in agreement, their support evident. Sam felt a wave of strength wash over him, bolstered by the solidarity of his neighbors. Clara stepped beside him, her presence a reminder that they were united. Victor's jaw clenched, and for a moment, Sam wondered if he might lash out. But instead, Victor's expression shifted, a smirk curling on his lips. You think this little display will change anything? I'll make sure you regret this. I have connections, and I'll use them. Your connections won't intimidate us, Clara shot back. We've built a community here that values respect and dignity. You can't bully us into submission. Victor's smirk faltered, and Sam could see the anger brewing beneath the surface. You're playing a dangerous game, he warned, his voice low and threatening. I won't forget this. As he turned to leave, Sam felt a surge of triumph. The residents stood together, their unity unbroken, and he knew they had made a stand against Victor's tyranny. But deep down, he couldn't shake the feeling that this confrontation was only the beginning. As the evening wore on, laughter echoed across the rooftop, and the sense of camaraderie among the residents grew stronger. Sam joined in the festivities, engaging in conversations and enjoying the music. The barbecue was more than just a gathering. It was a declaration of their resilience. But as night fell and the stars twinkled above, Sam's thoughts wandered back to Victor. He had been so certain that his wealth and connections would shield him from the consequences of his actions. But Sam knew that the true strength of their community lay in their solidarity, and he was determined to protect it. The next morning, Sam opened the door to the lobby, ready to face whatever challenges lay ahead. The sun shone brightly, a beacon of hope in the aftermath of the barbecue. He had seen the power of unity, and he knew that together they could overcome anything. As Sam settled into his post, the sound of footsteps echoed through the lobby. He looked up to see a group of residents approaching, their expressions a mix of determination and excitement. Sam, we need to talk, Clara said, her voice urgent. We can't let Victor's threats go unanswered. We need to take action. Sam nodded, feeling a rush of adrenaline. What do you have in mind? We should organize a meeting with the residents to discuss our next steps, Clara proposed. It's time we formalize our stance against Victor and demand accountability from the management. I agree, Sam replied, feeling the fire of determination ignite within him. We need to show that we won't be intimidated and that we're serious about creating a culture of respect. As the group gathered to discuss their plans, Sam felt a renewed sense of purpose. They were ready to face Victor head-on, armed with the strength of their community. The fight for dignity and respect was far from over, but together they would rise to the challenge. The atmosphere in Harrington Tower was electric with anticipation as Sam Thompson, Clara, and the other residents prepared for their important meeting. They had gathered in the community room, a small space filled with mismatched chairs and old tables. But today it felt like a sanctuary of hope. Sam could sense the determination among his neighbors, and he knew this was a pivotal moment for their community. As the residents filtered in, Sam greeted each one with a smile, feeling the weight of their collective resolve. Clara stood at the front, organizing the seating arrangement and ensuring that everyone felt included. This is our chance to take a stand, she said, her voice steady. We need to make sure that Victor understands he can't bully us. The room buzzed with nervous energy, and Sam felt a mixture of excitement and anxiety as more residents arrived. The sense of unity was palpable, a shared understanding that they were stronger together. Once everyone was settled, Clara took a deep breath and stepped forward, her presence commanding attention. Thank you all for coming today. We've witnessed disrespect from Victor Harrington, and it's time we address it head-on. We need to demand accountability from the management and ensure that our voices are heard. A murmur of agreement rippled through this crowd. Sam felt a swell of pride as he watched his neighbors nod in solidarity. They were ready to confront the issue that had plagued them for too long. I propose we draft a letter outlining our experiences and the need for change in our community, Clara continued. We should gather signatures from everyone who supports this initiative. The more names we have, the stronger our message will be. Great idea, Marcus chimed in. We should also include specific examples of Victor's behavior and how it affects us. That way, there's no denying that this is a serious issue. As the discussion flowed, Sam felt the adrenaline coursing through him. They were no longer just tenants, they were a united front, ready to reclaim their space. He watched as residents shared their stories, each one reinforcing the urgency of their mission. "I've been living here for over 10 years, and I've seen how Victor treats people," said Lila, her voice strong. "He acts like he owns us. We can't let him think he's above everyone." "That's right," Clara agreed. "We need to show him that wealth doesn't give anyone the right to disrespect others." Sam nodded, feeling a sense of determination wash over him. "Let's not just stop at a letter. I think we should request a meeting with the building management to discuss our concerns directly. We deserve to be heard." The residents murmured in agreement, the energy in the room shifting from anxiety to empowerment. They were no longer passive observers. They were taking control of their narrative. As they brainstormed ideas, Sam felt a flicker of hope. This was the essence of community, standing together against adversity, refusing to be silenced. He felt the weight of his ancestors' struggles behind him, urging him forward. After an hour of spirited discussion, they finalized their plan. Clara would draft the letter, and they would meet again the following week to review it before presenting it to the management. The residents were invigorated, their resolve stronger than ever. "Thank you all for your support," Sam said, stepping forward to address the group. "This is just the beginning. We are taking a stand, not just for ourselves, but for everyone who deserves to be treated with respect. Together, we can make a difference." As the meeting concluded, the residents began to disperse, their spirits high. Sam felt a sense of accomplishment wash over him. They had taken significant steps toward reclaiming their community, and he was proud to be part of it. But as the days passed, Sam couldn't shake the feeling of unease that lingered in the back of his mind. Victor Harrington was a formidable opponent, and he knew he wouldn't back down easily. The confrontation they had witnessed at the barbecue had only intensified the tension. One afternoon, while Sam was on duty, he saw Victor's sleek black car pull up outside the building. His stomach dropped as he watched Victor step out, his expression dark and determined. Sam took a deep breath, steeling himself for what was to come. Victor strode into the lobby, his presence immediately commanding attention. Residents exchanged uneasy glances, the air thick with tension. Sam stood tall, refusing to let Victor's arrival intimidate him. "Sam," Victor said, his voice dripping with sarcasm, "I hope you're enjoying your little community gathering. It must be nice to feel important for once." "Good afternoon, Victor," Sam replied evenly, meeting his gaze. "We're busy organizing our community and standing up for what's right. You should try it sometime." Victor's eyes narrowed, and Sam could sense the anger simmering just beneath the surface. "You think you can take me on? You're just a doorman. I can make your life miserable." "I'm not afraid of you, Victor," Sam countered, his voice steady. "You may have money, but that doesn't give you power over me or anyone else here. We deserve respect, and we'll fight for it." Victor stepped closer, his demeanor menacing. "You have no idea who you're dealing with. I'll make sure you regret this little rebellion. You'll wish you'd never crossed me." Sam held his ground, refusing to back down. "You can threaten me all you want, but it won't change the fact that we have a community that stands together. Your tactics won't work here." Victor scoffed, a cruel smile spreading across his face. "We'll see about that. Enjoy your little meeting. I'll be keeping an eye on you." With that, Victor turned and strode out of the building, the door slamming behind him. Sam felt a mix of anger and determination welling up inside him. He couldn't let Victor's threats shake his resolve. They had come too far to turn back now. As the days passed, Sam and the residents continued to prepare for their meeting with management. Clara's letter outlining their concerns was finalized, and they gathered signatures from as many residents as possible. The support was overwhelming, and Sam felt a sense of pride in what they were building together. On the day of the meeting, the atmosphere was electric with anticipation. Sam stood in the lobby, dressed in a crisp shirt and his doorman's cap, ready to face the challenge ahead. Residents filed in, their expressions a mix of nervousness and determination. "Are we ready?" Clara asked, her eyes scanning the crowd. "Ready as we'll ever be," Sam replied, feeling a surge of adrenaline. "Let's show them that we mean business." As they made their way to the management office, Sam felt the weight of history on his shoulders. This was more than just a confrontation with Victor. It was a fight for dignity and respect for everyone who had been belittled or dismissed. They entered the management office, a sleek space filled with modern decor and polished surfaces. A receptionist greeted them with a surprised expression, clearly unaccustomed to seeing such a large group of residents. "Can I help you?" she asked, her voice tinged with confusion. "We're here to meet with the building manager," Clara said, her voice steady. "We have some important concerns we'd like to discuss." After a brief wait, the building manager emerged from an office, a middle-aged man with an air of authority. "What can I do for you today?" he asked, looking at the group with mild curiosity. Clara stepped forward, holding the letter in her hand. "We're here to address the behavior of one of our residents, Victor Harrington. We've gathered signatures from fellow tenants who support our concerns about his disrespectful treatment of staff and residents." The manager raised an eyebrow, clearly taken aback. "Victor Harrington? He's one of our most valued residents. What exactly are you alleging?" Sam felt the tension in the room escalate. "We're alleging that his behavior is unacceptable. He belittles staff, including myself, and treats residents with contempt. This is not how we expect to be treated in our community." The manager glanced around the room, taking in the determined faces of the residents. "I see. This is a serious allegation, and I'll need to investigate further. But you must understand that Victor has influence in this building." "Influence doesn't excuse bad behavior," Clara interjected, her voice firm. "We deserve to live in a space where everyone is treated with respect, regardless of their status." The manager nodded, but his expression remained skeptical. "I'll take your concerns under advisement, but you need to understand that there are complex dynamics at play here. I can't make promises." Sam felt a surge of frustration but held his tongue, knowing they were making progress. "We're not asking for promises. We're asking for accountability. We're a community, and we deserve to be heard." As the meeting continued, Sam felt the tension in the room shift. The manager began to see the strength of their unity, and the residents spoke passionately about their experiences. They were no longer just individuals. They were a collective force demanding respect. After what felt like an eternity, the meeting came to a close. The manager agreed to address their concerns and promised to follow up with Victor. As they left the office, Sam felt a mix of relief and determination. They had taken a stand, and their voices had been heard. As they walked back to the lobby, Sam felt a weight lift off his shoulders. They had faced Victor's threats head-on and emerged stronger for it. But he knew the battle was far from over. Victor would retaliate, and they had to remain vigilant. That evening, as Sam closed up for the day, he felt a mix of exhaustion and exhilaration. The meeting with the building management had been a significant step forward, but the unease about Victor Harrington lingered in the back of his mind. He could sense that Victor would not take their defiance lightly. The confrontation had only intensified the tension, and Sam knew they had to remain vigilant. As he locked the door to the lobby, Sam reflected on how far they had come. Just a few weeks ago, he had been a silent observer of his own life, enduring the insults and arrogance of a man who thought he was above everyone else. But now he stood as a representative of his community, an advocate for respect and dignity. It was a role he had never anticipated, yet one he embraced wholeheartedly. The next morning, Sam awoke to a sense of determination. He had received a message from Clara that the management had agreed to hold a follow-up meeting with Victor and the residents to discuss the ongoing issues. They needed to prepare for this meeting, and Sam was ready to mobilize the community once again. As the day unfolded, he reached out to residents, encouraging them to come together. They needed to present a united front, and he felt the urgency of the moment. The stakes were high, and he could feel the energy building as people began to express their support. The day of the follow-up meeting arrived, and Sam stood in the lobby, nervously adjusting his tie. Clara and Emily arrived, their expressions a mix of determination and apprehension. "Ready for this?" Clara asked, her eyes scanning the room. "As ready as we can be," Sam replied, his heart racing. "We need to make sure our voices are heard, loud and clear." They made their way to the management office, a sense of resolve guiding their steps. The room was filled with residents, all eager to stand together against Victor's bullying. Sam felt a surge of pride as he took in the sight of his neighbors, united in their cause. As the meeting began, the building manager facilitated the discussion. "Thank you all for being here again. I appreciate your commitment to addressing these issues. Today, we'll hear from both sides." Victor entered the room, his demeanor cold and calculating. He surveyed the residents, a smirk playing on his lips. "I see you've gathered quite the crowd. What's this, a little protest?" Sam felt the tension in the air thicken, but he refused to let Victor's words intimidate him. This isn't a protest, Victor. It's a community coming together to demand respect. Victor's eyes narrowed, and Sam could see the anger simmering beneath the surface. Respect is earned, not demanded, he shot back, his voice dripping with disdain. And you're in no position to lecture me. Respect is a basic human right, Clara interjected, her voice steady. You've shown nothing but contempt for the residents and staff in this building. It's time to hold you accountable for your actions. The room buzzed with murmurs of agreement from the residents, and Sam felt a surge of hope. They were standing together, refusing to let Victor's arrogance go unchecked. As the discussion unfolded, residents shared their experiences of feeling belittled and dismissed by Victor. Each story reinforced the need for change, and Sam could see the building manager's expression shift as he absorbed the gravity of their words. I've been living here for years, said Lila, her voice strong, and I've witnessed how Victor treats people. It's unacceptable. We deserve to live in a space where we're treated with respect, not fear. Victor scoffed, his arrogance unyielding. You should all be grateful that I even consider you worthy of my time. You're nothing without me. Actually, we're everything without you, Marcus countered, his voice rising. We've built a community here, and we won't let you tear it down. The manager nodded, clearly taken aback. It's clear that this is a serious issue. I will take your concerns seriously and ensure that we address the situation appropriately. We cannot allow any resident to create a hostile environment. Sam felt a rush of relief wash over him. They were making progress, and the strength of their unity was undeniable. The residents continued to voice their support, their determination resonating in the room. But as they prepared to leave, Victor stood up, his expression darkening. I won't be bullied by a bunch of nobodies, he spat. You think you can just gang up on me? You'll regret this. With that, Victor stormed out of the room, his anger palpable. Sam felt a mix of triumph and apprehension. The confrontation had been necessary, but Victor's threats hung heavily in the air. As the meeting concluded, the residents gathered in the lobby, their spirits high. Clara turned to Sam, her eyes sparkling with determination. We did it. We stood up to him and made our voices heard. Absolutely, Sam replied, feeling a swell of pride. This is just the beginning. We need to maintain this momentum and ensure that we keep the conversation going. As they exited the building, Sam felt a renewed sense of purpose. They had taken a stand, and the community was stronger for it. But he knew the battle wasn't over. Victor was not the type to back down easily, and Sam had to remain vigilant. In the days that followed, Sam kept an eye out for any signs of Victor's retaliation. He knew the man was ruthless, and he had no doubt that Victor would attempt to undermine their progress. But he also knew he wasn't alone. The residents had rallied around him, and together they were ready to face whatever challenges lay ahead. One afternoon, as Sam was finishing his shift, he received a call from Clara. Sam, we need to talk. I just heard some concerning news. What's going on? Sam asked, his heart racing. Victor is trying to rally support among the residents, Clara said, her voice tinged with urgency. He's spreading rumors about you and the others, saying that you're trying to undermine the community for your own gain. Sam felt a wave of frustration wash over him. Of course he is. He thinks he can intimidate us into submission. We can't let him succeed, Clara replied firmly. We need to address this head on. Let's call a meeting to discuss how we can counter his claims and reinforce our commitment to the community. Agreed, Sam said, determination flooding his voice. We need to be proactive and make sure everyone knows the truth. They quickly organized a meeting, reaching out to residents to gather as many supporters as possible. When the day arrived, the atmosphere in the community room was charged with resolve. Residents filled the space, their expressions a mix of concern and determination. Sam stood at the front, his heart racing as he addressed the crowd. Thank you all for coming. We've heard rumors that Victor is trying to turn residents against us, claiming we're trying to undermine the community. But we know that's not true. We're here to fight for respect and dignity for everyone in this building. The residents murmured in agreement, and Sam felt a surge of hope. We need to reaffirm our commitment to each other. Let's share our experiences and remind ourselves why we're doing this. One by one, residents shared their stories, emphasizing the importance of unity and solidarity. The room buzzed with energy as they rallied around each other, reinforcing their commitment to creating a safe and respectful environment. We need to counter Victor's claims with our own positive experiences, Clara suggested. Let's create a community board where residents can share their stories and celebrate the things that make Harrington Tower special. That's a fantastic idea, Emily chimed in. We can highlight the kindness and support we've shown each other, and it will serve as a reminder of what we stand for. As they brainstormed ideas, Sam felt a sense of empowerment wash over him. They were no longer just reacting to Victor's threats. They were taking proactive steps to build their community. The tide was turning, and he was proud to stand alongside his neighbors. After the meeting, Sam left the community room with a renewed sense of purpose. He could feel the energy of the residents behind him, and together they were ready to face whatever challenges lay ahead. As the weeks passed, they implemented their plans, creating the community board and organizing events that celebrated the residents' contributions. They showcased the strength of their community, and with each passing day, the support for Sam and the other residents grew. But even amidst the progress, Sam knew that Victor would not simply fade away. He remained vigilant, aware that Victor was likely plotting his next move. The tension in the building was palpable, but the residents stood firm, united in their resolve. One fateful afternoon, as Sam was preparing to leave for the day, he noticed Victor pacing outside the building, a storm brewing in his eyes. Sam's heart raced as he approached, ready to confront whatever was about to unfold. "Victor, what do you want?" Sam asked, trying to remain calm. "I'm here to make things clear," Victor replied, his voice low and threatening. "You think you can just rally the residents against me? You don't know who you're messing with." "I know exactly who I'm dealing with," Sam shot back. "You're someone who thinks money gives you power over others, but we won't let you intimidate us." Victor stepped closer, his expression darkening. "You'll regret this, you know. I have connections, and I can make your life a living hell." Victor's eyes narrowed, his lips curling into a sneer. "You think this is all about community? This is about power, and you're just a pawn in a game you don't understand. But mark my words, I will reclaim my position." Sam stood firm, refusing to let Victor's threats shake his resolve. "This isn't a game. It's our lives, our dignity, and our right to be treated with respect. You've made your choice, and now we're making ours." With those words, Sam turned away from Victor, walking back toward the entrance of the building. He could feel the tension in the air, but he also felt the strength of the residents behind him. They were no longer afraid. They were ready to face whatever Victor had in store. As Sam stepped inside, he saw Clara and Emily waiting for him. Their expressions were a mix of concern and determination. "Are you okay?" Clara asked, her voice laced with worry. "I'm fine," Sam replied, meeting their gazes. "Victor is just trying to intimidate us. But we can't let him. We have to keep pushing forward." The days turned into weeks, and the residents of Harrington Tower remained steadfast. They continued to organize events, reinforcing their sense of community, and the support for Sam and the others grew stronger. The community board became a symbol of their resilience, showcasing their collective experiences and highlighting the importance of respect. But Victor was relentless. He began to spread rumors about the residents, attempting to sow discord and pit them against each other. He even threatened to withdraw his financial support for the building, hoping to leverage fear. One evening, during a community gathering on the rooftop, Sam felt the tension in the air as the residents discussed Victor's latest actions. "We can't let him divide us," Sam said, addressing the crowd. "We need to stay united and show him that we won't be intimidated." "Agreed," Clara added. "We should respond to his threats with positivity. Let's organize a community cleanup day, a way to show how much we care about our home and each other." "That's a fantastic idea," Emily exclaimed. "We can invite everyone in the building to participate, and it will demonstrate our commitment to making this a better place." The residents rallied around the idea, and soon plans were in motion. On the day of the cleanup, the sun shone brightly, casting a warm glow over Harrington Tower as residents gathered with trash bags and cleaning supplies. Sam felt a swell of pride as he looked around at the faces of his neighbors, all eager to contribute to their community. As they worked side by side, laughter and camaraderie filled the air. They picked up litter, planted flowers in the garden, and painted over graffiti. The sense of purpose and unity was palpable, and Sam felt a renewed sense of hope. But as the day progressed, Victor arrived on the scene, his expression a mix of disbelief and anger. "What is this? A neighborhood watch? You think this will change anything?" He scoffed, his voice dripping with contempt. Sam stepped forward, refusing to let Victor's presence intimidate him. "This is our community, Victor. We're showing that we care about each other and our home. Your threats mean nothing to us." Victor's expression darkened, and he glanced around at the residents, clearly taken aback by their determination. "You're wasting your time. You think a few trash bags are going to change how I see you? You're all still beneath me." Sam felt a surge of anger but held his ground. "You may think you're above us, but your attitude has only united us more. We're not going anywhere, and we won't let you bully us." The residents around Sam began to murmur in agreement, their solidarity palpable. Victor's bravado faltered as he took in the scene, the residents working together, laughing and genuinely enjoying each other's company. He was losing control of the narrative. "Fine," Victor spat, unable to hide his irritation. "Enjoy your little charade, but when you realize that it changes nothing, don't come crying to me." With that, Victor turned and stormed away, the sound of his footsteps echoing in the distance. Sam felt a wave of relief wash over him. They had stood firm against Victor's intimidation tactics, and it had only strengthened their resolve. As the cleanup day came to a close, residents gathered together, their spirits high. They shared stories, laughter, and a sense of accomplishment. Sam looked around, feeling a deep sense of pride in what they had built together. "Thank you all for your hard work today," he said, his voice filled with emotion. "This is what community looks like. Together, we can overcome any challenge." As the sun began to set, painting the sky in vibrant hues, Sam felt a sense of hope wash over him. They had faced Victor head-on, and while he knew the battle wasn't over, they had created a culture of respect and dignity that would not be easily dismantled. In the weeks that followed, the narrative began to shift. The residents continued to support one another, and Victor's threats lost their power. They began to rally around their community board, sharing positive experiences and reinforcing their commitment to each other. Eventually, Sam received word from the building management that they would not tolerate Victor's behavior any longer. They had conducted their own investigation and decided to issue a formal warning, stating that any further disrespectful behavior would result in serious consequences. When Sam heard the news, he felt a mix of relief and triumph. They had stood together and fought for their rights, and it had paid off. He knew that while Victor would still be a presence in their lives, they had created a community that valued respect and dignity above all. On a warm summer evening, as Sam stood in the lobby, he felt a sense of peace settle over him. The residents had come together to celebrate their achievements, and the atmosphere was filled with laughter and joy. "Sam," Emily called out, waving him over, "come join us. We're sharing stories about our favorite moments from the cleanup day." With a smile, Sam joined the circle of residents, feeling a sense of belonging wash over him. They had fought for their community, and in doing so, they had forged bonds that would last a lifetime. As the laughter echoed around him, Sam looked around at the faces of his neighbors, his friends. They had faced adversity together, and now they were stronger for it. He knew that no matter what challenges lay ahead, they would face them as a united front. And in that moment, as the sun set behind the horizon, casting a warm glow over Harrington Tower, Sam realized that the true strength of their community lay not in the absence of conflict, but in their ability to stand together in the face of it. You've made it to the end. If you enjoyed this story, I am confident that you'll love the next one appearing on the screen now. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel, and please give this video a like. I'll see you in the next one.